Hey everybody, it's Dan. The other thing I want to cover is in Ontario, when cars are sold, you pay our harmonized sales tax on the wholesale value of the car. I don't know what the wholesale value of this car is. Most this age are probably in like the $1,500 range, maybe up to $2,500. So you're talking about usually $300 or $400 in tax. You will run into some flippers who will leave the cars in the previous owner's name and transfer them to the buyer. I believe the legal term for that is curbsiding, and it's something that's frowned upon. I mean, I don't know what the legal penalties are for it, but probably not great. I mean, any kind of tax fraud or whatever, you want to avoid all that. So I do pay tax on the car. They do go in my name. It also helps with buyer trust, right? Like if a buyer's buying a car and they're looking at the signature and it doesn't look like my name, they're gonna, hey, what the hell. So you want to just to smooth everything over. I find it's worth paying the tax and registering the cars. I've never done more than two of these in 1 year. My understanding is that there's some number, it might even be three or more, where if you're selling cars within the same year, they want you to have a dealer license. So if I ever got into this to the point where I was doing like many cars a year, I'd probably look into getting an Ontario dealer license. My understanding is it's not incredibly expensive. So, maybe if that ever becomes a thing, that's one of the adventures we'll go on together. You know what I mean? We'll see. But for right now, I don't do the kind of volume that would require a dealer license or anything like that. I always do my best to stay above board with these kind of things. The last thing I want is legal hassles. After assessing the car, in my own driveway, kind of having a better look at it, and also based on what I know about it, we were able to order some parts. So I'll go over kind of the parts that I've begun with. Obviously this parts list is going to grow as we look at the car a little more, but this is going to get me started really well. So I'll kind of go over what I have here. I knew the car was going to need struts, so we ordered struts, rear shocks. That's going to be shocks all the way around, strut mounts, and bellows. Now, thank you very much, Rock Auto, for sending me a bellow that has been previously installed. Really cool. We've got iridium plugs, a new serpentine belt. This is that power steering line that I've determined was damaged underneath on the cross member there. This is a complete timing kit, including water pump. These Acura 5.3 liters are timing belt driven, and just with the advanced age of the car and the higher kilometers, this is a relatively cheap way to inspire more confidence in your buyers. It may not need to be done necessarily, but it's something that you should do if you want to really stand behind the cars you're selling. These are a labor intensive job, but I feel like it's worth it in ease of sale later on. So in terms of the price of all of this stuff, the strut mounts up here, these were $8 a piece, which is hilariously cheap. The serpentine belt I think was about $16. These I think were about $15 a piece. Plugs I think came to about $30. I went with the iridium because these Acuras want nicer plugs to run properly. Struts were $43 a side. Shocks, I believe, I don't remember. I think they were about, I want to say they were cheap. I think they were 20 something a side. This line was about $18, and I think I paid $120 for this timing belt kit. Purchased the battery for $186. Normally I would get a better price on a battery, but I was in a bit of a hurry because the tow truck dumped the car on the street and I wanted to get it off the street and into my driveway so as to not offend my neighbors. One thing, the previous owner, not being very mechanical, did purchase a brand new battery for the car. Obviously killed it, not being charged, but there is a possibility that I can bring that battery back to Canadian Tire, possibly get another one. I may even look into returning this one to Walmart where I'd purchased it. In a flip where your profit margin's a couple grand, a couple $100 for a battery doesn't sound like much to the average person, but that's a good chunk of your profit. So if you can help it, you want to try and recoup some of those costs. Something else that I do in my spare time for some money on the side is automotive detailing. I haven't been into that for a super long time, but I spent some money, bought myself all the chemicals I needed. I invested in a pretty good polisher. That's a Torque 10FX. So I've been getting into some polishing, some detailing, that kind of stuff. It really makes a big difference on a flip car to sell a car that's been cleaned and paint corrected and waxed. You want to have them looking as good as they can, in order for people to overlook some kind of scratches and dents, things like that. The better a car looks, the more people are going to want to buy it. All right, so where we're at with this car, as I was saying, we're $613 to my driveway. A battery at 186. I'm hoping to get some money back from that, and possibly just a spare battery even would be fine. I'm also all those parts came from Rock Auto at a total cost of $588 after taxes and shipping. So that amounts to, I think it's just under $1,400 to this point. That's not including the AC components that I'm going to need. That's also not including the price of the safety or anything else that I'm going to need. That's kind of, it's borderline too much. I think that I can probably, I know for a fact I'll get $4,000 safetied for this vehicle. I certainly wouldn't take less than that. Like I say, my goal is always to make 2,000. So ideally, whatever I run over 2,000 in costs, I can recoup above 4,000 in the sale. I plan on listing the car for a 48, 49. That's probably a little ambitious given the kilometers, but you never know who's looking that day. Maybe they really like these things and they're going to pay that. I mean, you never know. Don't ask, don't get. But like I say, always hoping to get at least $2,000 in profit is the goal. So there you go. You now are up to speed. You know everything that I know about this car. In the coming days, as I start to work on this thing, if I have anything to add, we'll be making new videos and, keep you updated on the process. Basically, the next steps are get all those parts on. Obviously I'm going to have to get an AC compressor from somewhere. I'll be working with a local wrecker on that. I'm already talking to a local supplier. They have one in their yard, supposedly, that they're going to test for me in the next little bit, and hopefully I can buy that. This will be the first time that I've worked on AC systems, so I'm excited to do that. That's something new for me. Basically, once this thing's mechanically sound, gonna go to a shop here locally for a safety check. If everything goes good on the safety, it's gonna be get this thing cosmetically as nice as I can possibly get it, and it's gonna hit the marketplace, and we'll see what happens. So I'll keep you updated. Any questions, throw it in the comments. I'm brand new to this, but if you want to throw me a like and subscribe, I would really love that. We'll keep you posted. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.